open court short, Hall of Famers Isaiah Thomas, Kevin McHale, and Grant Hill, as well as two-time NBA champions Kenny Smith and Chris Bosh, talk through the changes that they would make if they were the big boss.
It's another open court short. Isaiah Thomas, Chris Bosh, Grant Hill, Kevin McHale, and Kenny the Jet Smith. CB, you're commissioner for a day. Make a rule change or an NBA policy change if you want. Anything you could do. What would it be?
Oh, man, that's such a complicated question. I don't know. Come back to me.
No, go. We'll come back to you.
All right, dude. That's
Okay, I got a bunch. Want me to start with one?
Kevin's got a bunch.
Yeah, okay, CB, I'll help you out with one, okay?
Yeah,
First of all, stop showing those referees looking at a TV set during the three guys looking at calls. That drives me crazy. If I see one more time 3 referees all sitting around a TV with headphones on and looking at each other like that, make the damn call in Secaucus. When they walk over there and they just say Pistons ball, and then the guy has nothing to say about it, that drives me bananas, I tell you right now. And then you know what? Okay, that's my referee rant. My second thing is let him play a little bit more on the perimeter. I just think sometimes there's going to be, if Zeke is really driving hard baseline, at some point there's going to be contact because I got to shuffle over there and I got to cut him off. That's not a foul. That's me shuffling my feet. And at some point the baseline comes into effect. And at some point, you know, we're gonna run into each other. It's not always an offensive foul. That's usually some good defense.
I would like to see if I'm commissioner for the day, I'm going to say when it gets to the playoffs, there's no East or West. I want to see the best.
You
two
like
teams.
the 1 through 16 seeding idea?
Yeah, I want to see the best 2 teams at the end. We're in an era of nationality in terms of everyone, the Twitter world and the social media. People don't care if a team from the East is playing from the West anymore. If the Los Angeles Lakers are playing the Golden State Warriors for the finals, the world will tune in. They want to see the best players. And I think that once we get to the playoffs, it's 1 through 16. We have private jets, private charters. Guys aren't worrying about getting
So the Portland-Miami series doesn't bother you?
It doesn't matter.
Are we going to give an extra day in between there then?
Just give an extra day in between. 1 through 16, you get in. I want to see the best 2 teams at the end.
A lot of people agree with you.
I don't know, Kenny, if you would run the risk of shutting one coast out.
You wouldn't watch if LeBron James is Golden State.
I'm a fan.
But would you watch if LeBron James is playing Brooklyn?
If I'm the casual fan that the NBA Finals kind of bring in, East Coast, West Coast, I
think that's gone, Zeke.
Yeah, but you're talking about time changes and everything else, right? So if the game's starting at, if it's starting at 6 on the West, right? And I'm on the East and it's 9, and I'm a casual fan, I might just go to dinner.
All right, well, when we get to the Final Four, can we get the Final Four and don't matter? Like, let me get the reseeding?
I hear what you're saying, but I grew up, in my NBA basketball life was in Boston. You had New York, you had Philly, you had the little triangle of teams that hated each other.
Yeah.
Going back to the 50s and 60s, that was an intense rivalry. And at some point, you had to go through, for me, early in my career, at some point we had to go through Philly.
Yeah.
You had to be Dr. J and Tony and Mo. And there was something about that rivalry that I liked. So I look at it differently. I would hate to see that go away myself.
I think I was just thinking about something. I've had the chance to play international basketball, and one of the rules that I thought was very interesting, that the ball is live once it hits the rim.
Yes.
So there is no goaltending.
I'm with you on that. I like that.
Because as a rebounder, if you got a guy like Anthony Davis or somebody that can go up and get it, and you're playing the Warriors, that kind of evens the playing field a little bit, because those guys have very soft touches. So if it hits the rim, it has a higher percentage of going in than other guys. But if my advantage is that I can go up and get the ball or make a play on the ball to knock it off, I think that'll be a very interesting rule change.
Shooters would hate that rule.
Of course.
I like it.
Yeah.
Of course. There's no such thing as a shooter's role then.
Yeah, but with the athleticism and that could bring the bigs back a little bit. If it's dancing on the rim, that's what I did a couple times. If it's just dancing on the rim up there, put it back. That's 2 points, even if he shot a 3.
Yep.
Grant?
I think 2 things. I like what K-Mac said. I mean, I think the physicality is out of the game. And I think as a result, the advantage is such in the offensive players, on the offensive player side, that you don't really defend. And very few people now defend, I think, And I'd like to sort of bring some defense back in to the game. But another thing, and this is kind of out there, but I might extend the three-point line further out. I mean, the shooting now, and maybe on the sides you eliminate it on the sides, and it's just way out front. And it would alter the game and how it's played, but it may bring in a little bit more of a diverse attack and less sort of standing on the perimeter and shooting threes, and maybe a way to bring the big man back into the game somewhat. So with guys shooting 4, 5, 6 feet behind the line now, that three-point line is a lot different than what it was 25, 30 years ago.
I like the no side.
Yeah, that's really
No sides
interesting
is
because everybody's spacing is this: rim runner, corner filled. Everybody. I mean, everybody at some point, corner filled, some rim runner, some kind of roll down there. You end up with 2 high, 3 low all the time. And I always thought as a coach, I wanted to get 6 players on that baseline, because now look at the 2 guys left on top, how much room they have. But if you did, that's interesting. If you did take away that, there would be no need for me to worry about the corner 3. I thought the corner 3 and everybody using that really effectively changed the entire spacing of the game, because you guys shot a lot of slot threes, and if you got corner threes, it was swing.
It was swing.
Yeah.
2 passes.
Yeah.
And another thing with the physicality of the game, just watching the game, and the Warriors, they're the team. But one thing that drives me crazy as a big, and it's good for them, but when they do all that stuff in the celebration, if you hit them and they finish, as a defender, you have to be able to send a message. Because if I'm Steph Curry, and I can go in there and finish on the bigs, guys that outweigh me by 100 pounds, and I can celebrate, that kind of takes a little bit out of me, because I know I can't hit him.
Right. And there's no fear on his part.
There's no fear on his part. There has to be some sort of, it has to be some sort of fear going in the paint.
All right, thoughtful stuff. There you have it. Another open court short.
All right, you two big guys, if you were the GM, what would you change right now about the NBA?
Smitty, I'll start with you.
You're the commissioner. Or you can be the GM.
You're the commissioner. Well, you know what? Listen, I'm a huge NFL fan. I spend all my Sundays watching NFL. And one thing I do love about the NFL is that they have the rule of the coaches get a challenge. And I think that the NBA could adapt that. There's a lot of times we see calls that go a team's way, and we realize officials are human, they make mistakes. And so I think that every coach should get it, almost like a little challenge flag. You know what? If they think it's a big enough possession, then they can use it all game, not just the last 2 minutes. Hey, I didn't like that call. Let's review that.
And if you lose the challenge, you lose the timeout.
You lose the challenge, you lose the timeout. But I think we should adapt the NBA. If I was the commissioner, that's something I would do. I would have a challenge flag for the coaches.
So, Brendan, you're basically eliminating them going to the monitor being able to look at calls now. You're saying that just having one challenge a game?
Well, they still can look at calls, but sometimes if it's not in the last 2 minutes, they might not be able to look at it.
Okay.
Or it might be a play where, I thought the guy traveled and they let it go. Like, nah, we're going to stop it right here. LeBron's not taking 3 steps today. We're throwing the penalty flag out here.
It's not just LeBron taking 3 steps.
We're not having all that.
You throwing that challenge out?
Yeah, we're throwing a challenge flag.
So I can slip and fall?
Yeah. We thought, whatever they got, maybe they got to wave the challenge flag. Whatever they got to do, I think that would be okay.
All right,
How about you,
for me,
Smith,
it's
your commission?
I eliminate one and done. I think you should have a right to be able to put your name in the draft after high school. And obviously, we're going to have some guys make some mistakes, but I think you should be able to have that right, because I look at it as if you're going to college for just 1 year, yes, every year you mature, but is 1 year helping your game? Also, is 1 year helping you so much maturity-wise? I don't think so, so I think you should eliminate the one and done.
I completely agree with you, and put some pressure on these guys to really put thought into this decision, because if the one and done is eliminated and you go to the NBA, you're not coming back to college. You are risking forever the college experience, even for 1 year. Right now, they get a little taste of both. They get to see what it's all about, help their team, but is it really helping their team in the long run? I mean, if they can make one NCAA tournament run, but then you have younger kids coming up, recruits watching, going, what's my role going to be if he stays, if he leads? How are we going to rebuild this team when we lose our star player who's getting drafted early on? I mean, there's a lot of questions.
There's some of those guys that's helping those teams in that 1 year.
Yeah, I know.
They help them. Trust me.
They do, and it's a lot to it's a lot to change the next year.
I just think there's every year is different, but I think when you look at it, it's about a select of 10 guys that's able to go play.
Right.
In the NBA, whether they're a project or not. And then there's some other guys put their name in there for other reasons, so I think it's just to be.
There's a lot more than 10
if you're old enough to go fight for this country, you're old enough to go make a living playing basketball.
Totally agree.
Yeah, I mean, you said 10 that probably can go, maybe 10 more that can, but there's a lot more than that they think that can play at the NBA level.
You'll
It only
find-
takes a
you'll-
couple of bad examples, right, for these younger kids to go, okay, am I really ready? Could I benefit from college? I mean, so many great college coaches out there right now, too.
Yeah.
That can
You'll find
teach you
out real
so
quickly
much.
if you're ready or not.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, more Game Time Live, presented by State Farm when we get back from the break.